I'm here. It's 8:30 p.m. and I'm here to answer. Let me put my microphone here. And I'm here to answer and clear all of your doubts about the complete CPE preparation course. Hello, Davi. Hello, Rafael. Let's see who else is going to join us. Nicola? How do I pronounce your name? I believe it's Nicholas, probably. Then Rafael is saying hi. There is Tifo Fontanella. It's probably Tiago, I believe. Hi. So, Walani, he's a student. Should I say, why don't you send me a message here telling me where the stress of your name goes? Is it Walani, or is it Walani, or is it Walani? So you're just going to write it down using uppercase letters wherever it is that I have to stress. So if it's Walani, you'd go W-A in uppercase. If it's Walani, or if it's Walani, please let me know. This is my question for you. I will just open it up here. Okay. Rafael is saying, can we start making questions now? Yes, I'm here to answer questions. Go ahead and start asking. So the idea is I am going to tell you about, it's Walani. Okay, it's the first, Walani. So I'm here, I'm Flavia Costa. For people who are watching and have no idea who I am, my name is Flavia Costa. I am a Brazilian English teacher. I have been teaching English since 1991, and preparing students for Cambridge exams is my expertise and my passion. Even though I have been teaching English since 1991, I have been preparing students for Cambridge exams since 2008, and my focus right now is solely on the CPE exam, the C2 Proficiency exam, because I decided to do so. I love the C2 Proficiency exam for so many reasons. It is beautiful to use C2 language, and people need that certificate much more. So whenever you go to the market with a CPE under your arm, if you have the C2 Proficiency there to show in your resume, then you are ahead of other people. You see, you are necessarily ahead of the game. Okay, so T. Fontanella is asking, how is the reading and use of English part on CAE? It's pretty much the same. CAE is reading and use of English. Let me take a look at the difference here. It's not much of a difference. There is one different question. I don't remember it right now. So Rafael is saying, okay, so I just got my CA certificate and I got 208 points at the speaking test. It is a okay score to go through the CPA speaking test, or we should focus on the task itself or some more advanced vocabulary? No, 208 points, you are CPE level, right? 208 is CPE level, so you are already there. Good job. So go ahead and you can go for the CPA speaking test. You should focus on some different vocabulary, right? Please use some inversions. Try to insert at least one inversion there when you're speaking. Try to use more idioms there. As many phrasal verbs as you can use, the better. Okay, as far as I'm concerned, is one of the cohesive devices you should use there. But it's pretty much the same. You have already taken the CAE, you know what to expect. And this is one of the questions I also receive. Is preparing for the CPE good if I want to pass the CAE? That's the question I receive a lot, right? So can I prepare for the CPE and then only take the CAE. You can take the course to prepare for the CPE, but you will have to practice using CAE exams because they are a little bit different. The speaking test has different tasks, one different task, and I am going to open the reading and use of English paper here just to remember. Somebody is saying, do you think it's possible to pass the CPE not having taken any of them before? Yes, that's what I did. I took the CPE right away. I had never taken any of the previous ones. I needed the CPE for various reasons. I was taking a managerial position. I was invited to become the coordinator of a course. I had been invited. This was back in 1999. I had been invited in 1997. I said yes, and then I assumed the position. And then people started requiring they required that I take the CPE. And then I did, and I had to do it right away without any of the previous exams. And it's totally feasible, it's possible. It's not like taking a computer university course where you have to take one course to then take the other. You can just go ahead and take the last one. Rafael asks, is it enough to get a passing grade at the exam, or I can get a better one? You can always get a better one, but it is enough to get a passing grade. Depends on what your goal is. For example, nobody is going to ask you for your, look, if you are taking the CPE for your resume, for business purposes, having the CPE with any grade is having the CPE, and it's enough. If you are going to take the CPE because you want to compete for a scholarship in a PhD level, some universities will ask for a B. This is the only situation I remember. Hi, I'm reconnected. Am I live? Okay, because I lost connection. So that's the only situation I remember that people had asked for a higher grade on the CPE. It's when competing for a scholarship at some universities for PhD purposes, okay? And then the requirement was CPE with a B. And then somebody else is asking, Rafael is asking, I loved the experience of taking the CAE, but my marks in terms of reading were not good at all. It was my worst score. Is it too much different, the level of reading? Yes, it's a bit different. I would say, Rafael, some people say that I am not correct when I say that, but I am pretty sure of what I am saying, okay? The gap between FC and CAE is larger than the gap from CAE to CPE. You see, the amount of information you have to acquire from FC to CAE it needs a lot of work. You need to learn more English content. You need to develop your grammar knowledge. It takes a lot of effort. From CAE to CPE, it's different because when you are already CAE level, you are already advanced. And you know all of the grammar structures. You know a lot of advanced vocabulary. You are ready. What is the difference between CAE and CPE? There's a real thin line there. And you see, it's difficult to evaluate the difference, especially when speaking. There are some criteria, but there's a thin line between CAE and CPE. And for the reading, as for the reading, I would say that they exaggerate on the use of vernacular. They will use different vocabulary that is harder to understand because it is CPE level. So you have to be acquainted with different vocabulary and able to use it well. Even so, you might find it difficult because the reading is made to be harder than CAE, okay? It's different. So you need practice and you need to prepare for that. What else? Do I have more questions? Good evening from Belo Horizonte. Good evening, Amy and Bruna. So there are 10 people here right now. Let me tell you that I am here to tell you how you are going to pass the CPE in 24 weeks if you prepare well to do so with me or with anybody else or on your own, okay? So you have to take your time to study at least a little bit every day, and you have to study everything. You have to recapitulate your grammar knowledge, and sometimes what reduces your grade is something that is sitting there from your basic English that still needs some fixing. I keep telling people that the problem is usually after you prepare for CPE, the problem is not inversions anymore, but something else that got stuck there in the past and is still making you make mistakes, basic mistakes that you didn't fix when it was time to fix them. Fixing a mistake, which is fixing a recurrent mistake, is harder than learning something new. So we have to go back to basics and review everything, but it's a fast review. And I don't use grammar books for that. It's not a traditional grammar lesson. I find it much more profitable to give you paragraphs to correct, because within a paragraph, there are so many different mistakes there to fix, right? Punctuation mistakes and verb agreement mistakes and spelling mistakes. All of those things can be tackled in a small paragraph really fast. And it's the best, easiest, fastest, and let's say nicest way to review grammar ever. Because even though I love grammar, I know this is not everybody's favorite part of English, right? So we must tackle other things as well. We must learn how to do all of the parts of the exam. Reading and use of English paper is long and laborious. It takes time, so it needs a lot of effort. Mike Iron Coach is saying late at night, but I'll stay here for a few minutes. Thank you, Mike. Where are you from? It's not that late here in Brazil. It's just 8:40. Amy saying great class indeed. Thank you. What would you like to know? Ask me your questions then. People have been asking me about Write and Improve. Write and Improve, Italy. Mike is saying that he's in Italy, so you are 4 hours ahead of me. 8, right? So it's midnight there, right? 12:44. Well, thank you for joining. Hi, Drew. How are you doing? So I was going to start talking about Write and Improve. What is Write and Improve and how to use it? Write and Improve is a platform, a website that was created by Cambridge Assessment for you to practice your writing. It corrects your writing using artificial intelligence, and it uses Cambridge Corpus Computer to do so. It is a free website, so you can go there and use it as you wish. So you don't need to take a course to be able to use Write and Improving. You can go ahead and start using it on your own, okay? However, Write and Improve gives you tasks for IELTS General, IELTS Academic, and FCE. It does not give you CAE, CP level tasks. For you to receive CPE, CAE level tasks, you need somebody to send them to you, or you need to create them inside of Write and Improve. I know some people are already sharing CAE, CPE notebooks, workbooks for you to be able to practice on your own. So if I can practice using Write and Improve on my own, Why should I practice using Write and Improve in a course, right? Why? Well, 3 reasons. 3. First of all, Write and Improve is artificial intelligence. It uses Cambridge Corpus Computer to fix your mechanics. Mechanics means that it's able to see when you are making mistakes in punctuation and grammar. Now, it's not really good in dealing with content. Okay, it does. It deals with content and it is getting better each day. I do believe artificial intelligence will be able to tackle content pretty soon, but not yet. And this is where a teacher gets in. Write and Improve facilitates the work of the teacher a great deal because it will already correct everything that needs extra attention, as I said, punctuation, grammar, etc. And then when it comes to content, that's the time when the teacher comes and says, hey, this was not cohesive, or this didn't answer the question as much as it could have if you had said something like this, that, or that. And this is why Cambridge, I'm just turning off something here that's noisy. And this is why Cambridge still uses examiners, people, human beings, to read your writings, okay? They do have that Cambridge Corpus Computer there to check your mechanics for the examiners as well, and then they come and they check content. So what's important there is for you to have somebody to help you with content. Is mechanics important? Yes. Can you do mechanics all on your own? Yes. This is why you will do mechanics all on your own, right? You will learn how to correct yourself through classes and with my help, and use Write and Improve. This is one of the tools we use during the course, okay? So that's one of the reasons why I use Write and Improve, and that's one of the reasons why you need a teacher and Write and Improve all together. It's like, imagine that. If you are the kind of person who goes to the gym and is able to exercise all on your own, you are the kind of person who's able to study all by yourself. Okay? My building, I live in an apartment building. There is a gym downstairs. I know it's there. I never go there. Because it's hard to go there and do it all by myself. But I know that if I go to a place where there is somebody coaching me and telling me, now do this and do that and don't stop, I know it's going to work. And this is the work of a teacher. It's mostly coaching you. It's keeping you motivated throughout your preparation. It's telling you, don't give up. You're doing a good job. Don't forget to hand me the writing. Did you do this? Did you do that? And that's what a teacher does. It makes your life easier. They hand the material to you. You don't have to go looking for the material, and they are there to clear your doubts whenever you have one. Okay, let me start answering more questions here. So Rafael has another one. He says, when I was taking the CAE, probably, because here it's CAR, but it's CAE, I had an issue with time management in the reading part. I somehow managed to do it all. I started the reading paper coming backwards from part A. Is it advisable on the CP? CP has 7 parts, doesn't have 8. What I tell my students is to start on part 5. I usually advise everybody to start on part 5, and then you work it like this. Parts 5, 6, and 7. And then you go back and take parts 4, 3, 2, and 1. This is my favorite order. It's not for everybody. I was just talking to a student right now. We were having a party, online party, because we have just finished our 100th class. So we were having a milestone celebration. And she was telling me that she has realized she prefers to take the reading and use of English in the correct order because of her anxiety level. And that's, this. After you practice, after you learn everything there is to know about the exam, and after you are sure that that strategy is good for you, then you are able to decide. If you haven't practiced that much and you're going to take the exam in November and you are watching these live lessons just to see how Cambridge exams work, because you know there are people like that everywhere. Some people enter here and say, I'm taking the exam tomorrow and I didn't prepare, and they want me to save their lives. I'm sorry, I don't do magic, but if you are one of those people, then my advice is that you do parts 5, 6, and 7, then go back and do 4, 3, 2, and 1 for various reasons, okay? Is CPE similar to TOEFL? That's the question. No, it's not. It tackles the 4 skills. Yes, it does. Reading in use of English, reading and grammar, listening, writing, and speaking, all of them. But TOEFL has a different approach to everything. It grades you in a different way. It's a completely different exam. What I tell my students is, here in Brazil, we have to take tests to become a public servant, okay? I don't know how it works in Italy there or in other countries, but here in Brazil, if you want to become a judge, or if you want to become a public defender, or if a defendant, right? Sorry, if you want to become a public defendant, or if you want to become a what's the name of the lawyer who sends people to jail? I forgot. Anyways, if you want to become a public servant, you have to take tests. Each test is a completely different thing, okay? So the exam to become a judge is completely different from the exam to become a prosecutor, okay? Prosecutor, and which is totally different from the one to become a public defendant. So they're different, just like the CPA and the TOEFL. You need to be a lawyer to take all of them, but they have different approach. Lily says, hi Flavia, I'm Mai from Japan. My level is FC now, but my goal is past the CPE. So I really want to take your course. But first I have to study FC and CAE after I take your course. But I think that's the question. So first I have to study FC and CAE and to take your course. This is what I was saying, Lily. There's no such thing. It's not like martial arts. You do not have to change belts to become a different level. You can go straight to CPE. However, if you are FC level, it is interesting to have in mind 2 main ideas. Are you able to deal with all of the perfect tenses well? What's your relationship with present perfect, past perfect, and future perfect? Do you understand them well, and can you use them easily? Is it easy for you to understand everything people say? And can you speak English in an easy way whenever you need to? So if you answered yes to all of these questions, then you can go ahead and prepare straight to CPE, okay? And the course of 6 months, this course, my course, takes 6 months because it teaches you everything from beginning to end. So if you haven't started preparing for any exam, if you have never prepared for the CPE before, this is an excellent course for you because I will take you by the hand from beginning to end, giving all of the material you need. Now, if you have been preparing for the C2 Proficiency for a while and you have been doing exercises for a long time, this course works for you in a way that you are going to revise structures that you believe you still need you still need to review. You need to be careful there, and you are still going to get new materials, some tips, and a community of people, right, guys? Because I believe one of the precious stones there, one of the most interesting things this course provides you with is an intercultural group of people working towards the same goal, working towards the same purpose, which is the C2 Proficiency exam. And we all meet on VIP Facebook group. It's a separate one created only for people within the group, and then we answer each other's questions, we embrace each other. I had an issue during the last course. I had a friend of mine who passed away, and it was really important for me to receive support from the people in the group. I received so much support, and yeah, it's not a group that's going to leave you standing there alone, okay? It's a group of study with people from all over the world focused on one purpose. So yes, you can study from the beginning. Mike is asking, TOEFL has a score similar to IELTS, and if I'm not wrong, it expires in a few years. Yes, TOEFL and IELTS both expire in 2 years. You have to take them again every 2 years. CPE, CAE, FCE, all of those main suite exams from Cambridge, they do not expire. They last a lifetime. And this is why they're better for your resume. This is why they're better for business, okay? Some people will say that, oh, they do not expire, but if you do not practice English, then your level of English goes down. True. However, Cambridge exams test you deeply. It's not a leveling test. IELTS and TOEFL are leveling tests. You take them to see what level you are now. Cambridge exams are not leveling tests. They are certifications that state that you have reached that level to an extent that you deserve a certificate there for your life. That is something that you have achieved, and it's really hard for you to forget. So the way they test is different. And this is why it's much more fun to prepare for Cambridge than for IELTS and TOEFL, because as you prepare for CPE, for example, your level of English changes. It's a leap. You can see your English. All of my classes are recorded. Okay, so by the end of the course, when you get one tape from a student at the end of the course and the same student at the beginning of the course, is when you can really see how much English changed. Let me see if there is another question here. MA is asking, you have just received a WhatsApp message. I've heard the notification. Yes, and I just turned off my computer. MA says, sorry, the cell phone dropped. Okay. Darmi is saying, hello, Flavia. And Rafael is saying 4. I don't know why he said that. Maybe I said something wrong. MA is saying prosecutor. Yes, Mike is saying attorney. Attorney is the general word for every lawyer, right? An attorney can do everything. A prosecutor is the one who will try to put people in jail. And then Darmi says, I've got an inquiry. What happens if I don't get the required score on one of the skills? It's okay. They balance each other. I had a student recently. Her name is Maíra. She took the course. She only took 2 months of the course because she was about to take the exam already. And because of that, she didn't do well in one of the skills. She went well in 3 of the skills, and one of the skills brought her down. But she passed the CPE with a B anyways. Okay, so they balance each other. You can add them all up and find the average, and the average will help you pass. Rafael is saying lots of laugh. CPE is a lot harder than TOEFL and IELTS, believe me. Yes, the CPE exam is all about highly advanced content. TOEFL has got easy and hard questions all together, in my point of view. You are completely correct, Rafael. That's exactly that. TOEFL and IELTS are leveling tests. They will ask you questions from basic to advanced to try and see what level you end up. So you start answering questions from basic, intermediate, and then it starts to be a little bit more advanced. It makes the test a little bit easier. and harder in some way, because if you have something going on with a basic, if you have an issue with something that is still hanging there in the past, they will find it, and then your grade will go down even if you are an advanced student. Anyways, some people say they're easier, and they only last for 2 years. They're completely different exams, okay? Even though Cambridge Assessment is the same institution which prepares the exams for IELTS. So when you take the IELTS, you can see the similarity. You know it was Cambridge. You were sure that the people who prepared that exam were the same, right? It's Cambridge. But the purpose is different, so the level of knowledge is different as well. Amy says, thanks, it is very kind of you. Flavia, well, I don't know what was kind of me, but no problem, that's what I'm here for. Amy says, thanks for answering my questions kindly. Oh, okay. My pleasure. Mike says, I understand all of the words you pronounce. Is it a false positive in my listening? Why is not usually that easy? I'm a teacher, Mike. I articulate everything I say because I want my students to understand. And this is something that I have been doing since 1991. Okay? So after 28 years teaching English, I have learned to articulate all of the words and stress all of the vowels properly so my students will understand everything I say. It is not the same English you are going to tackle when you are taking a listening test for Cambridge. You will have to listen to British English spoken fast with different accents. And this is one of the hardest things about CPE, because they will actually have different accents there for you, different kinds of British accent. How hard is that? Have you ever tried listening to a person from Scotland? A Scottish, an Irish, speaking something and then having to understand and answer the question right away? So, that's what CPE is all about. And that's why it needs practice, okay? Is Ricaro is saying, is the course recommended to everyone? I mean, I'm beginner. Can I do your course? No, you can't. If you are a beginner, you have a lot to learn before you prepare for the CPE. You will get lost in the process. I need everybody to know advanced English to prepare for CPE, okay? So first you improve the quality of your English, then after you are high intermediate or advanced, then you can go ahead and prepare for the CPE. Or else it's going to be too disappointing. You will end up giving up, and then you will think that you will never learn. It's too hard, and it's not too hard. You just have to go step by step. Darmi is saying, bunch of thanks for having answered my inquiry. My pleasure. Lola is here from Winner Idiomas. Lola is the owner of one of the Cambridge centers here in Brazil. She is a darling, and she answers all of the questions I have about issues. And I have a question for you, Lola, if you are still there. A student of mine has just asked me this question, and if you could please help, about the computer-based exam. What I was telling him was, whenever we take practice tests, we find one or two correct answers for each task. But we know that those were not the only possibilities. For example, part 4 of the Reading and Use of English paper, that one where they give you one word and you have to rewrite the first sentence using a different word with the same meaning, right? So whenever you do that, whenever we take practice tests on that, the answer key comes with one or two possibilities of right answers. However, we know that Cambridge is looking for two different transformations, right? It can be a verb transformation and a word transformation. We must find two different transformations in each of those sentences. If the transformation is correct, it doesn't matter if the sentence is slightly different, let me rephrase that. If they find two different transformations and the transformations are correct, even if there are slight differences in the sentences that you have written, you know that the answer will be correct. Great. So now, is the computer-based exam the same? Do they feed the computer with all of the possibilities, or taking the paper-based exam would be better, because then you would have a human being checking your answer, and then they would make sure that your answer was right? What is your opinion, Lola, specifically for you? And if you are a Cambridge examiner out there, please answer that for me as well. Do you believe it is better to take the paper-based exam because having a human being correcting your exam might be better for those parts where sentences vary? What's your take on that? Darmi is saying, I've got another question. How are you going to schedule this particular course? Well, this course is 100% online. There are lessons that are previously recorded on video. You are going to watch 3 different previously recorded video lessons every week. Four previously recorded video lessons every week, plus 1 live lesson with me, a speaking session where we all practice for the speaking part of the exam. It's not just sitting there for conversation, it is actually taking the exam, and we use a platform called Zoom where we can all see each other and talk to each other as if we were in a classroom. I can also put you in separate groups of people, so if there are too many people there, I can separate you in trios or in pairs, and you are all able to practice throughout the entire time. Okay, so I teach you how to do it. I put you in different online classrooms, and then I walk around the classroom just like a teacher would do in a face-to-face lesson. Do you know when your English teacher separates you in groups and say, now you work in pairs, and then they start walking around the classroom to listen to what you're doing? That's exactly what I do. I separate you in pairs and trios, and then I get into your online private classroom there, and I listen to you, then I go to another one, and then I go to another one, until I can check everybody's work, okay? So, 4 previously recorded video lessons that you can watch and rewind and watch again and ask questions. You can ask me questions on WhatsApp. You can ask me questions by using your email, and you can ask questions on our VIP Facebook group. And then if you do that, it's the best one, because then you have your peers help you out as well. There is 1 live session with me for speaking practice. And there is also the writing practice that I have already explained here. We receive writings for us to work on together, and I check and talk about content, okay? Darmi is saying, which skill comes first? There's no such thing. All of the skills are equally important, okay? We are all adults, so it is important that we read and write as much as we speak. However, if you're talking about which skill comes first when you're learning from basic, then I would say listening. If you understand what people are saying, then you feel more confident to start speaking. And then listening and then speaking. After you're speaking, you will start worrying about writing well. And then after you're doing all of those 3, you will start reading books in English. But this is just the the process when you start from basic, right? Here at CPE level, all of the skills are equally important and have to be tackled at the same time. So we are dealing with all of them at the same time. Amy is saying, I was supposed to be watching the news on TV. However, thanks Amy. I'm so glad that you're here. Rafael is saying, do you have any piece of advice for that paper in which you have a gapped text and you need to fill in the right paragraphs in the text? The gapped... I think you were talking about part 6 of the Reading and Use of English paper. You were talking about paragraphs, right? Yes. There is a moment where they give you a text and some paragraphs are missing. Those missing paragraphs are all scrambled on another page and you have to find which paragraph fits where. It's like a puzzle, right? What is the piece that fits here, right? Well, this advice, Rafael, unfortunately is not something that I can give you here because it takes an entire lesson. But I would say that you should go looking for the key ideas of the paragraphs and see if they follow a cohesive structure. Okay, that's mostly what I can tell you now because I am answering so many questions and this is such a long explanation. Amy is saying this live is pretty captivating since it is entirely in English. Yes, thank you, Amy. Do you have any other question for me? Well, Rafael, aren't you a lucky one, right? So I can go back to your question right here. Let's talk a little bit about part 6 of the Reading and Use of English paper then, okay? So there is this long text with paragraphs missing, right? You have to think about cohesion. Usually the last sentence of a paragraph will connect to the first idea of the following paragraph, right? So this is the connection you have to find. The last sentence. For C2 Proficiency, it's not that simple because it's mostly about the key ideas. But usually when a person writes really well, they're able to connect paragraphs with such cohesion that you will know necessarily that this paragraph fits right under because the idea is linked. Okay? All right, so it seems like I don't have any more questions here. What can I tell you without any questions? Rafael is saying, yes, love you, Flavia. I love you too. Thank you for being here. So, what can I tell you without questions now that I have answered all of the ones that were here? Feel free to ask me more questions, okay? So, I'm here to answer you questions about the course that is going to start next week. The Complete CP Preparation course takes 24 weeks, which means 6 months. And it's going to prepare you for the C2 Proficiency exam in March, not in November now, not in December now, in March next year. Why such a long course, Flavia? Well, it is not such a long course if you take into account that face-to-face courses usually asks for 1 year, okay? All face-to-face courses I have seen and all face-to-face courses in which I have worked, I used to be I used to be an exam preparation teacher for some English courses, and all of them will say you need to prepare for 1 entire year. So what I have done is I have reduced it from 1 year to 6 months. How are you able to do that? How were you able to put 1 year into 6 months, Flavia? Well, what I did was I took the most important parts of the entire course. I separated interesting material. I chewed it up for you and I spoon feed you with the material. Say, hey, this is important. Here, honey, take this one. And then you receive the content, you practice a little bit, I hold your hand and I say, do you have any questions? You ask me your questions, I answer. So it's a coaching process. I am there every day with you. Instead of studying for 1 year, 3 times a week, with a classroom of people asking questions that are not necessarily interesting for you, you're going to study every day with videos that were previously recorded, and that you will only ask questions that are worth your time. Okay, so if you have a question that's important for you, then you ask. How do I ask, Flavia? How do I ask the question? You ask me using your WhatsApp, email, Facebook VIP group. Okay? All right. Dami is asking, as far as I know, Cambridge exams are always updating. Which update exam are we gonna cover? I mean, which year? Could we take the CPE online? Wow, 3 questions. Yes, Cambridge is always updating exams. It has just updated a few exams for 2020, not the CPE yet. Maybe it will. The last important revision of the C2 Proficiency exam, I mean important because it really changed the way the exam is presented. It removed some questions. It made the exam smaller and more feasible, was in 2013. There was another revision in 2015. However, it did not change the exam in a way that it could interfere with your studies, okay? Just with the way examiners have to deal with it. So the last big change, the last important change was in 2013. Will there be another one soon? I don't know, but I do believe so, because they have already started revising from young learners on. And it has already, it's already there at B1 level, so they start revising, and at one certain moment they will reach C2, okay? Amy saying, does CPE test require special British English skills? No, and I'm so glad it doesn't, Amy, because can you listen to my English? It's so Americanized, right? And when I took the CPE, I had the same question, and I didn't find anybody to answer that. I was so afraid of taking the exam. I thought examiners would hate me because my English is so Americanized. So I would stay in front of the mirror trying to speak British English, and I was like, tea? Would you like some tea? Oh, and I can't do it. It sounds so phony when I do it, and by the time of the exam I was desperate. And it was silly of me, because accent is not in the marking criteria at all. It doesn't matter if you have a language 1 accent, if you have an accent in your own language, it still doesn't matter much, okay? So I was really worried about that when I took the exam, I was. But no, it doesn't matter. You can use American English, British English, Canadian English, Australian English, New Zealand English, Irish, Scottish, whichever accent you use. Okay? Now, the Reading and Use of English paper is all written using British English because the exam is prepared in England. But if you are a C2 proficiency level, that is not going to be a problem for you. The thing is that you will be able to write and speak using any English you please, and you will have to understand the reading, which is going to be okay. That's what proficiency is all about. Isabel says, I would love to join you. Unfortunately, it won't be possible. Oh, I'm sorry, Isabel. Maybe another time, right? Mike is saying, I don't think so, Amy. From what I know, they even care about the British American accent. Yeah, well, they don't care. They don't even care, right? So it doesn't matter. You can use any English you prefer. Yes, and then he corrects himself. They don't. Thank you, Mike. That's exactly that. They don't care about it. Use English, and all of them are fine, okay? So Edna joined. Hello, Edna. Rafael is saying, when I was taking the exam, CAE writing part, when I was preparing, I used Cambridge Write and Improve. I usually got a C2 level by using unusual words and synonyms and inversions, but it was not natural for me. Should I do it again in CPE? Yes, you should do it again in CPE. And even if it's not natural for you, it's okay, because you are going to use advanced, highly advanced English, and it's not about being... let me be careful with what I'm going to say right now. Let me think if I can say what I was thinking. Advanced English should come naturally for you when you are writing as well. However, there are some things we do when we write that we never do when we're speaking. Spoken language is different from written language in any language of the world, right? In your language one, you speak completely different from the way you write. And whenever you write, you have to follow some structures and be careful about grammar and flexibility. Flexibility in writing means that you're not going to repeat the same word over and over again. You have to be careful finding synonyms. You have to be careful finding the best expressions. And even though this should be natural for you, it doesn't mean that it is easy. Writing is a hard process, and it takes practice. So even if you are an excellent writer, even if you write beautifully at your own language, when you stop writing for a while and then you want to go back and start writing again, it takes some time for you to remember how to do it well, right? So it is about practicing, and preparing for the CPE means that you will have to practice your writing very often, every week, and until the day of the exam, you will have written at least 50 different tasks, and then you will be ready to take the exam. Rafael says, if I attempt to use natural writing language, will I get a lower grade? Yes. Use natural language when speaking, okay? There's no such thing as, well, there is natural writing language, but we do not write the same way we speak, ever. Rafael, but the CPE change was unfair, do you think? Nowadays we need 86% of marks to pass the exam. In the past, the score was not that high. In the past, the exam lasted 1 extra hour. Just the reading and use of English paper took 2 hours. The writings were much longer. The speaking was crazy. And the listening was impossible, okay? So there was no way they could ask for such a great development there. Previous exams, have you ever studied using previous exams? They were harder, okay? So nowadays, after 2013, what they did was make the exam feasible, which means possible for people to take. People were not taking the CPA anymore. They would just say, I don't need that level of English. I will stop here at CAE. That's enough for me. And they were just not taking it anymore. So they said, we have to rearrange that in a way that people will go back and try to achieve this, because it's too hard. So they made it easier. They made it easier, okay? They reduced the number of questions, they reduced the amount of time, and that's CPE, honey. Well, it's the highest level exam out there. They have to at least have you work hard, okay? I don't think it's unfair at all. I think it's too easy right now. I'm not saying that the CP is too easy. It is hard. It is very hard, but it is much easier than it used to be. Ariana says, hi, I have a question about the reading suggestions. Is it worth it to read both books carefully? Thank you. Okay, well, Cambridge suggests 2 different books for you to read. Those books are just suggestions. You don't have to read them at all if you don't want to, okay? So, if you choose only one to read, just in case, that's more than enough. If you like reading, then go ahead and read both. Rafael is going easier. Yes, it became, in my opinion, it is a little bit easier. Okay, so the set texts are for you to use during the writing paper. Okay, they are not going to appear anywhere else in the exam. Nobody is going to ask you a question about the books during the reading and use of English paper. They're going to be completely different tasks. So, there is the reading and use of English paper. Nobody talks about those books there. And then there is the writing. When it's time for the writing, they give you one essay to write. This is a compulsory task, which means everybody has to do it. So the essay is the same for everybody. Everybody will do the same thing. It ranges from 240 to 280 words, about 100 words less than it used to be in the previous exam. Anyways, then it ranges from 240 to 280 words. You have to do an essay, which is academic writing. You have to follow the style of an essay and do your job there. Then there is the second task. The second writing ranges from 280 to 340 words, 220 words, 340. If you know, write it down. Anyways, it is the same number of words it used to be in the previous exam, and it's just for the second task. For the second task, they're nice. They give you options, and then you can choose. So, they will give you 5 different options there. They will give you the option of writing another essay, or an article, or a letter, a formal letter, or a review, or a report. Okay, these are the 5 papers that appear during the CPA exam. And then they give you different tasks for each, plus a task focused on the books they have suggested you. And then if you have read one of the books or both of the books, you can just look for the options they give you and say, I want to write about it because I know everything there is to know about that book. I have read the book. I can answer this better. So for some people, reading the set texts really helped them tackle task 2 of the writing paper because you already know what the task is going to be about, but you don't know the question they will ask, and you don't know if they will give you the option of writing a review, an article, a letter, anything for that task. So it's usually going to be a review or an article or a letter, but the books are there as a suggestion for your second writing task. It's optional. You do not have to read them. So if you're pressed for time, if time is a problem for you, then tackle other things and wait a little bit. Read the books when you have the time to read them and then get ready. Rafael says, God help us all. I'm taking the exam in November. I like writing, but planning my reading seems too crucial. Would you recommend us to have a list of fancy vocab to use randomly, such as acquiescence? Probably he's going to finish writing it. He's still writing it. Yes, you need to have fancy vocabulary to use randomly, but you also need to be prepared to use it in context and in a natural way, okay? Some vocabulary that you must have to have in mind. Well, okay, so whenever you are speaking, bear in mind that, I have 26 seconds remaining. I didn't know. I had no idea live Instagram had such a thing. So I have 17 seconds remaining. They're going to cut me. And then if it happens, I will come back. Okay? I promise. 10 seconds, 9, 8. So, hello again. Hi, Achiever. I am back. I was cut. I had no idea stories had this live limit. And then you had to end your live in so many minutes. So they started the countdown and I could see 10, 9, 8, and then I had to move. I had to get out of here, but I am back. And the reason why I joined today was to answer questions about the Complete CPE Preparation course, which starts next week, and enrollment is already open. So if you would like to join, we still have a few spots left. Not many, but we still have a few. And you can go ahead and enroll. You will find the link in my bio or on my page. If you were following this on Instagram, you will find it there. If you are following this on YouTube or on Facebook, you will find it there as well. Okay? Rafael says, sorry I didn't get your answer. It's because we had been talking about something in the previous live and then I was cut. And he said, and Darmi says, no problem. Fortunately, we are online once again. Yes, we are. Okay, so the question was, should I have some random high-level vocabulary to use memorized? Yes, by all means, you should. You should even have some sentences memorized. And not that you're going to rehearse, but I would say that taking any Cambridge exam can be a little bit rehearsed. It's not that natural because there are some things that examiners expect to listen. They are waiting for you to use them. Okay? So if you use them, you can practically listen to the assessor in the back, because there is an interviewer and there is a person doing the assessment there, right? You can practically listen to the pen going points, 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 points. Whenever you use something that they're hoping to listen. They're sitting there hoping to listen to something. And then you do it. And then you get the score. So you should know what the things are. What are they expecting you to do? Do you know? Answer me there. I want to see if you know what Cambridge examiners want to hear. They are expecting from you when you are taking the listening test. If you know answer, I will drink some water because I have been talking a lot. Nothing? Nobody? Come on. Cambridge examiners are hoping to listen to your inversions. They want to see you do at least one inversion. They want to listen to different cohesive devices. So you're not going to say but. You're going to say but, however, nonetheless, nevertheless. You're not going to say and. You're going to say therefore, right? You're going to say moreover. There are so many things you can add there. As far as I'm concerned, to my mind, as I see it. Okay? If you ask me from my standpoint, so there are so many sentences that you can use there, utterances we call them. I got them all under the sleeve. No, you got them all up your sleeve, Rafael. That's the idiom, up my sleeve, okay? I got them up my sleeve. And this is one of the idioms they're hoping to listen as well. One other thing. During the pictures, there is a moment when the examiner is going to show you a few pictures and you have to talk about them, right? You have to interact with your peer and then try to reach a negotiation there. So when you were doing that, you will ask the person questions all the time. You have to interact. You're getting points for interactive communication. So letting your partner speak and asking questions is also awarding you points, which is the easiest way, right, to get a high score. Be nice, ask questions, and interact well. It's one of the criteria. And when you are asking questions to your colleague there, you're not going to say, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Repetition is terror. You have to have flexibility. So how can you vary that? What do you think? Do you agree with me? What's your take on that? Do you see eye to eye with me? Okay, so there are many expressions there for you to use. Do you see eye to eye with me is one of those many expressions. Cambridge examiners are looking forward to hearing from you. Raphael asks, should I use inversions in the speaking exam? Yes, by all means. Not only should you use inversions, but you should also use high-level ones, such as no sooner than. Okay, this is proficiency exam. If you do not use an inversion there, chances are that your grade is not going to be too high. It could be at level, but not as high as you would like it to be. So at least, not only, but also. Okay, at least, not only, but also with an inversion. And it's the easiest one. Mike says, yes, one at least. Yes, one at least. One at least. So if you don't know what to do and say, oh no, I'm taking the exam tomorrow. Why am I watching this only today? At least have one up your sleeve. Use, never had I thought of that. Okay, so whenever somebody asks you a question there, you know, the interaction part, somebody is going to ask you a question, the examiner is going to ask you a question, you can make that face as if you were thinking of what to say because you don't want it to sound rehearsed. It is rehearsed, but you don't want it to sound rehearsed. You know what I mean, right? So you're going to go, never had I thought of that. And then, bam, one inversion there. Darmy is saying, I think the best way to pass the exam is knowing what to do. Yes, how to do it, and the time for each particular part. Is that true? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. You are completely right. And this is why we have preparation courses. It's for you to learn how to deal and how to tackle the exam. Okay? How long should I take on part 4? How long should I spend on part 6? How long and how well can I tackle that part? Is there any trick for me to do it faster and better? Yes, there are many. Okay, so Stella Marcus has just joined. And I think that's it for today, guys. I believe I have already answered loads of questions, even questions which were not concerning the course itself. I even answered some English questions for you and some exam questions if you were going to take the exam now in November or in December. Okay? But if you are willing to prepare for the exam in March, remember, by preparing for the C2 Proficiency exam, you are going up at least one level of knowledge. You are going to improve your English. You will be surprised by how much your English is going to improve. You will also be able to pass the highest level English exam out there, and you will join an online community of people from different cultural backgrounds who are working together towards one goal. This is one invaluable thing to have in a course, because peers are people who become friends for life, and you have somebody to count on. Also, I also receive lots of questions of people asking me if I give private classes. They say, I do not want to join a group, an online group. I want private classes. Do you teach private classes? Not anymore. I don't teach private classes anymore for various reasons. Look, preparing for CPE is my passion. It's my expertise and my passion. When I do it, I want to do it well, and I want all of my students to pass For me to give you an entire C2 Proficiency preparation in private lessons, it would cost 10 times more than the course for groups. I have seen people wanting to prepare with private lessons but not being able to afford them. And I would like to reach as many people as possible because I know this is one exam people want to take. Okay? So I wouldn't be able to be here giving you all of that content if I were teaching private lessons. I would say that to one person only. Is that fair? I don't think so. I say it to many people. I help you, and the price is much lower because of that. Okay, so everybody can join. Raphael saying, loved your video, Flavia, I'm already your big fan. Thank you, Raphael. I'm your big fan too because your questions are so intelligent, and having people ask questions here is what I always hope for. I believe your questions helped loads of people. Thank you. Darmi said, I'll be definitely your student. Count on me. Yay! I'll be so glad to have you there. Rafael says, count me in too. Thank you. Ariana says, thank you very much. I was planning to take it in December, but I might take it in March, just so I can take your course. Wow. Now I'm going to start flying just like a balloon here. Thank you. So Aroja Rosemary sent me a request to be in her video. Well, I do want to talk to you, and I wish, please go in my bio and send me a message there saying that you would like to join me in a live video, and we will schedule a date and time for that, okay? Because today I am just ending. I have been here for quite some time. I have been here for more than an hour already, and I gotta go. I have 2 little kids waiting for me to tuck them in to sleep, and it's late, okay? So thank you very much for being here. I hope I answered all of your questions. Remember, I am not a native speaker. I am a Brazilian teacher who has been teaching English for 28 years. I have taken the CPA exam. I know how hard it is. I know how to take you there. Okay? Rafael says, my exam is on the 30th of November. Is there any hope for me? Yes, Rafael, there is a lot of hope for you, and I will be here praying for you too. Ask as many questions as you please. Follow my WhatsApp list. There will be a link there in my bio somewhere for you to follow my WhatsApp, and if you are there, you can ask me more questions whenever you need. And as soon as I can, I will answer them. I will not answer them immediately, and you can imagine why. I am a working mom, and I am a teacher, which means I'm not rich, and I'm always working. So whenever I have time, I go there and I answer all of the questions myself. I do not send you to a team of teachers who are going to answer you randomly. It's all about you and me now, okay? So Darmi says, so last but not least, if we take the course this coming week, when will I take the exam? In March. If you prepare for the course with me starting next week, you take the exam in March. But Flavia, what if I am not ready to take the exam in March? If March arrives and I feel that I still need to prepare some more, so worry not, my friend, because you will have access to the platform for 3 years, okay? Not direct access to me coaching you during the preparation as for those 24 weeks, but all of the lessons will be recorded and remain there on the platform for you to access for as long as you need throughout 3 years, and you can rewind them and watch them again, and you know where to reach me if you have a question. All right, guys, so now I am out of here, okay? When I was younger, there was a cartoon with a little witch. She would mount her broom and say, off we go. That's what I'm going to do right now. Not that I have a broom. So Ariana says, sorry if I missed it, but how much will it be? Well, I have that information for you. In my bio, you're going to click on the link there and you will find everything you need to know. You can pay it, if you are Brazilian, you can pay it in installments, okay? That is just for Brazilians. I'm sorry, because that's the only country which allows me to do so. If your country does not allow you to pay in installments, there's nothing I can do about it. The course, if I am not mistaken, it is up to 12 installments of 100. Yeah, it's below 200 a month. It's really cheap, okay? You will pay for 1 month of course the equivalent of 1 hour of private lessons. So feel free to join. This is what I told you. It is a group course because it is affordable. I don't teach private classes because I know how expensive they are. The course would cost at least 10 times the price. So Darmi says, it would be even much better if you share all the material by the WhatsApp as well, since I check it out more often. Honey, I share so many things on WhatsApp and on Facebook. I will keep on sharing, and if you are my student and you want me to share everything that's on the platform with you, I will do it, okay? I can't share the videos on WhatsApp. You will have to open the platform and watch them there because they're heavy and they're loads of homework. But you can use the platform from your phone, from your tablet, from your computer, anywhere you are, anytime. If you are in the bathroom, you can still watch the classes, okay? That's the beauty of online course. You take it wherever you are, whenever you want, at your own pace. That's good, isn't it? I think so. I have been taking online courses for a while now, and I'm in love with them. And have a good night. Thank you very much. You too. Darmi says, but about Ecuador, you should give me a hand, please. Well, it's about your country. Your country has laws and regulations that I cannot infringe. Rafael says, it is indeed in Cultura Inglesa, Rio Grande do Sul. We paid R$600 monthly for 6 months. I know. I was a teacher at Cultura Inglesa. I had taught in Cultura Inglesa for a long time. I was Cambridge exam preparation teacher there for quite a while. And I know it's expensive. And it lasts 1 year. And yeah, you have to share the classroom with students asking questions that are not for you. So I would go for my course. I trust this course so much, guys, that I'm giving you a guarantee of 30 days. You can come in, join the course, watch it for 30 days. And if you don't like it, I'll give you your money back. You don't even have to explain why, okay? Just send me a message and I will refund you entirely. And that's it. I think everything that had to be said was already covered. Hi, Majo. Thanks for joining me. Majo is Maria Jose. She is from Uruguay. She is a student right now. She has been taking the course with me for 100 classes. Today we had a 100 milestone celebration. And she's ready. Right, Majo? Don't you think you're ready? And she will take the exam now in November, right? I think she's going to take it in November. Darmi says, it was a pleasure to be part of this online video conversation. See you soon, dear Miss Flavia. See you soon, dear Darmi. A million thanks from Rio Grande do Sul. Bache, thank you. I love your area. I was there for the Brass TESOL convention in Curitiba, and I went down a little bit more, and it's always a pleasure to go there. Okay, guys, so I am really tired. I have to go, but I am enjoying this so much. You have no idea. I really like being here. Anyways, thank you very much again. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.